Chair recognizes Mr. Sanford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, thanks to each one of you for coming testifying before the committee. Inasmuch as today's hearing is about worldwide threats to the homeland, and inasmuch as we're going to take a fairly significant vote today with regard to homeland threats, I'd be curious to hear each one of your perspectives on what you view to be the biggest deficiency with regard to that plan that we'll vote on today.
I guess I would say that the plan that the President has put forward to deal with ISIL, assuming that's what you're referring to,
Yes, sir.
is a strong plan in many respects. We've got to work with an international coalition. We've got to work to support the efforts made by the new Iraqi government, and we've got to take the fight directly to ISIL. So I think it's incumbent upon Congress to act on the authorities we've requested. I think the President himself has said that we cannot expect to deal with this threat overnight, and it's going to take an enduring, sustained effort. And so I hope Congress will support our efforts in that regard.
Well, might I interject there? I continue to always be impressed with your skills as a former lawyer. What I asked was for the biggest deficiency.
I would refer you to the State Department and the Defense Department, Congressman. But I believe that our proposal and our plan is a strong one for degrading and ultimately defeating ISIL.
It's a pass, I understand. Anybody else want to take a crack at the apple?
I just don't think that's something that at the FBI I can or should comment on.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I got 3 passes on that one. Let me rephrase the question then. Von Clausewitz, in his study of war, talked about how is it that you impact your enemy's center of gravity. Many people have argued that what we're doing, though it's action, that it's engagement, that it's doing something, we're not at the end of the day impacting the enemy's center of gravity and their ability to bring harm to the United States. Are there any thoughts, if you were to pick one thing that you think would impact terrorism's threat to the United States these days or around the world, what do you think to be their primary weakness, that center of gravity, that if affected would really begin to impact the outcomes?
Congressman, let me answer that question this way. From my DHS experience and from my Department of Defense experience, I think that it's important that in our efforts we not enable the enemy to recruit faster than we can capture or kill the enemy. And so, and particularly when it comes to the homeland. So, along with the efforts of our military and along with the efforts of our partners overseas to take the fight directly to ISIL, there has to be an effort at countering their propaganda, their social media. There has to be an effort at engaging potential violent extremist threats here at home because, as has been pointed out by many members of this committee, these groups in the current age are very good at propaganda, at recruitment, without having to recruit somebody and indoctrinate them in a terrorist training camp. And so I'm focused on countering violent extremism at home. And together, we're focused on counteracting the literature and the propaganda, the notion that ISIL is an Islamic state, which is false. It's not a state and it's not Islamic. It's a group of murderers and kidnappers who commit genocide. And so they're a group of depraved individuals who have captured the world's attention right now. So I think I'm addressing the premise of your question, which is that it's got to be a comprehensive effort that involves multiple agencies of our government.
I see I'm down to 30 seconds, so let me just skip to my last question very, very quickly. And that is, given what some of the testimony has uncovered with regard to this constant recurring theme of roughly 6% operational control based on the GAO report with regard to the border, our southern border, why not, again, simply build a fence? And I'd be curious to hear each one of your quick thoughts as to yes or no, why not simply build a fence?
Would you like me to start?
Well, you filibuster the best, so I think I'd rather go to the
I'm
others
just going
first
to give you a
and go
quick
back.
pass so I can pitch it back to him.
Yeah, really, pass as well. It's not really within our remit.
First of all, Congressman, what we do on the southern border depends in very large part on the resources that Congress is willing to give us. So
Absent the resource question, what would be your recommendation? Why not simply build a fence?
my recommendation is the most effective, efficient use of our resources is a risk-based strategy. I do not believe that building a wall across the entire southwest border is an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars. If I build a 15-foot wall, somebody's going to build a 16-foot ladder. And so we have the technology in place, and we need more to be able to look for where the risk
I might
is and go
interject.
to that.
They might build a 16-foot wall, but it would certainly not allow school-age children to walk up to officers and hand themselves over.
Very definitely, the situation we faced this summer was one where many of these kids wanted to get caught. And so when you're dealing with that kind of situation, it's important to demonstrate that if you come here, you will be apprehended and we will send you back. And so we stepped up our ability to send people back quicker. We engaged in a pretty aggressive public messaging campaign about the hazards of doing that. But again, when we go down that road, we need a partner in Congress, and I didn't get one this summer. I asked for money to help pay for our efforts to step up our border security, and we didn't get help. And I now have to pay for it.
I have
from other
many,
means.
many different thoughts on that, but I see I've entirely burned through my time.